we'll finish off on some Raw notes,
Okay.
and then we'll get into some other stories. What do you think of Raw? So the week before, I thought Raw was bookended by two very good segments, one better than the other, in Brock and Oba, Roman and Punk. And this show kind of had a similar template in terms of how it was bookended.
It was pretty much.
Um,
It was pretty much mirrored.
yeah, yeah. So what do you think? I thought this week's was a bit better than last week's in terms of what we got in between. And I thought the Roman and Punk segment this week was a bit better than the previous one. How are you feeling? Let's start with Roman and Punk. How are you feeling about this? I know this is getting a lot of criticism online, and I guess that's normal because it's the biggest match and it's open to criticism. And if it's not absolutely perfect, we're going to rip it to shreds, that kind of thing on social media. What do you think of this segment?
I felt it was needed. I did not need another promo battle. I did not need to hear, you're old. I didn't need to hear, you're gonna bury you with your dad, or
Larry.
You're only here because I allowed you to, like, the same stuff. They did it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We didn't need to hear it. I think there was a lot more story to what happened. I think there's a lot more Easter eggs that people may have skipped over. Just the fact that Jey Uso was the one calling the shots and Roman basically listening to Jey.
Interesting that was.
Is a lot. Again, let's look at the 2-3 steps down the road. That's a lot of post-Mania stuff that we could delve into. Is, we've been seeing Crash Out Jey recently, especially in the last couple of weeks with Punk. We've been seeing that right-hand man type anger with him when his promos.
Thank God.
So, yeah. So, he's yeeting when he comes to the ring for his tag matches, but then we're seeing the right-hand man towards the end of the night. So, so I think there's a lot of, there's strings of story there that people have to, like, pay attention to. But thank God it got physical, because there was only so much I could take of cutting the same promos. I like that Punk addressed the old comment. He explained why he punched him. It's kind of the same. I agreed with him. It's kind of the same thing that I get when people call me old. I got the grays in my beard.
Yeah.
I'm not hiding them and stuff like that. I like the little shot about Roman, how Roman, dyes his, his
Just
grays.
For Men. I did like the Just For Men comment, yeah.
So, and I like that, it finally got physical, because we needed physical. We needed something more than just promos. There's only so much promos you can do before it's like enough. And that's what we saw with the Rhea stuff up until last week. It's like, okay, stop talking, fight already.
Yeah.
We want to see the fight. So I thought the whole segment at the end was great, putting him through the table, Punk laughing about it, despite going through the table, saying that, kind of laughing that, Roman couldn't do it himself. He needed Jey. He needed
exactly.
Jimmy.
I loved it.
Like I said,
sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, like I said a few minutes ago, I wish that he drew some blood.
Yeah.
I thought the imagery would have been great with the blood, but it is what it is. It's WWE.
Yeah, we had a blood segment.
If it was AEW, he would have been all bloody. But anyway,
Michael Cole will be covered.
Yeah.
We had a blood segment with Cody and Randy. That's probably our fill for like 6 months now, until we get to.
And then Jacob also was.
Oh yeah, Jacob. Week. Yeah, man, we've been spoiled recently, haven't we? I think they did a bit too much.
Yeah,
tone it down a bit.
As a matter of fact, really quick, I tweeted this last night. I think, to add to it, Cody and Randy should be a first blood match.
First blood.
That's something they haven't done in many years. And with what Randy did to Cody, I feel like that would be a great stipulation.
The only one I remember is Stone Cold versus The Undertaker from like 1999, maybe 2000.
Right.
I can't remember the last one. Do you remember the last first blood match in WWE?
I would think I feel like it was Cena was involved in it. I want to say Cena was involved back when Cena was champion.
Yeah, like mid 2000s, maybe mid to late 2000s. Yeah. It's been at least 10, 15 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think that would be great, especially the way he busted him open. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a nice stipulation, and you could use it to kind of protect people too.
Yeah.
So someone doesn't have to actually take a pin. But not to get off topic as far as Raw.
Nope.
I felt I felt that was needed.
Yeah, and
So
I think what I've liked in the last 2 weeks is the kind of the contrast. So the week before we had Punk losing it, attacking Roman, Roman on the floor, laughing that he's in his head. And we kind of got the opposite this week, where
right,
Roman was the one who crashed out and Punk was the one laughing because he got the upper hand. And it feels to me like it's just a battle of who's in the other one's head. And they both think they're winning. And that's what I that's what I find fascinating about this. And I think that's why Roman didn't react to Punk saying, I'm going to bury you with your father. And he even said to the Usos, he owes you an apology, not me. And I think Roman was just being the bigger guy. I'm not going to fall to this bait that Punk's giving me. But yeah, they're kind of in each other's heads, and neither are prepared to admit it. And
right.
like they both think they're winning, and they're not. So I agree with you. I think the physicality was needed this week. I'm wondering where they go from here. They're both on the show again in Madison Square Garden, so that's a big show always for WWE.
They need to do
And
something really big. They need to do something
yeah,
really big. This whole show on Monday
needs to kill it.
needs to be big. One, you're in your hometown. You're in your home turf of Madison Square Garden, even though we know it's Connecticut, but you know,
It's their home away from home, isn't it? Like
it was
it's their
always
show.
called
Yeah,
it was always called New York.
yeah.
During the territory days, you're going to New York, you're going to WWF.
Mm-hmm.
So Madison Square Garden is their home.
Yeah.
They need to do something big. You got Penta doing an open challenge.
Who's going to show up in New York? Yeah,
So I'm just gonna say it's gonna be Finn Balor, and then he's gonna get screwed over by Dominic.
yeah. And the match
So
gets made official.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I kind of see that happening. Brock's gonna be there, Roman's gonna be there.
yeah.
Brock needs to get the upper hand on Oba for once, because
Oh yeah,
otherwise you're just saying that Brock's gonna win. So
yeah.
there's a lot. I don't know where they're gonna go on the next step when it comes to Punk and Roman. Are we going to still have the Usos involved? Are we going to let them deal with the tag team stuff? It's almost like Jelly Roll
Mm-hmm.
to a sense.
Yeah,
It's like, how much are we going to rely on other people instead of the two people who are actually in the match?
yeah. I think the Usos have been a nice accent to the feud just because of the family connection, but
Right.
I don't want to see them every week involved. You know what I mean? I think this needs
Right.
to be Punk and Roman. They've got their
It
own
made
story
sense.
to tell.
Right. It made sense a couple of weeks ago when Roman wasn't there. So they kind of bridged between that 1 week that Roman wasn't going to be there.
Yeah,
But now we don't need to do it. You can still tell the story of is Jay in charge with like a backstage promo, but you don't need it, Punk getting beat up by all three again. Especially at the point that we know Punk doesn't have any friends.
exactly.
He doesn't have, anyone to back him up.
No, and he's not going to because that's him, isn't it? He doesn't
Yeah.
have friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where they go with this. I'm wondering what else I mean, there's people saying that they want Roman to bring up Larry and stuff. He might do, and that might send Punk completely over the edge where we get Punk in, proper engaging in real physical violence. I don't know. I think this still has potential to be an incredible main event just because of the two guys involved. They can deliver on the big stage.
Right.
And I
Let
don't
me
think
ask you
anything does
something.
him bad. Sorry, go on. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, do you think Larry needs to even be brought up? I
Do I
mean,
think he needs to? No.
is it gonna add anything to it? Honestly, they kind of, Punk said what he said. He almost kind of apologized for it, and they kind of moved on from it.
Yeah.
They're not even talking about it anymore.
I mean, it's
So it's like,
bordering on the territory of low hanging fruit. And
right,
I think there's plenty of other things they can do to generate loads of heat between these two. Would it generate heat? Yeah, I think it would. Is it absolutely necessary? No. I think that something like that is necessary for Rhea and Jade, 100%. Like something
right.
deeply personal. But I don't think it's necessary. I'm not going to be upset if it's not mentioned because I think they can get along without it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do mention it. So I'm kind of here or there with it, but I don't think I need it.
So you think Roman's gonna cook him some pepper steak?
Yeah. Yeah.
Larry steak.
Yeah. Oh god, we're gonna get a Kendall from Hell match or something.
Yeah. But
Oh,
I
man.
just don't think mentioning the dead dog is gonna do anything. it's a heel move. I mean, granted, neither one of them are a babyface, neither one of them are a heel. They're both kind of tweeners.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it adds to it. I think there's enough meat on the bone with just their history and the wrestling part
Mm-hmm.
that even though, like I said, they moved on from the Sika thing. Roman kind of brought it up on the Tonight Show
Yeah.
that Punk said something derogatory about his dad, but otherwise, I just don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's going to add to the match. I
It's not
think
crying out for it, is it?
right, and it's like you said, low hanging fruit. It's an easy way.
Yeah.
It's not very creative.
No.
So
And we keep saying that WWE is predictable, and this would be a predictable thing to do for me.
right,
So I'm not crying out for it, but I thought it was another good
I
segment.
honestly, if I want to draw heat and I'm Roman Reigns, and if Triple H really wants to show that he's got balls, let Roman drop 3 letters on a
Oh
promo.
man, can you imagine? Can you
You think
imagine that?
about it.
Yeah.
Can let him drop those AEW letters. One,
I can't see them mentioning it on Netflix. I can't see them giving them any direct publicity ever. I just can't see. I'd love to see it, but I just can't see
yeah,
them doing it.
I mean, it's it's his history.
Yeah.
Bring up how he got fired from AEW. Bring this stuff up. Stop holding back. Everyone knows AEW exists.
Yeah.
This isn't the 80s and 90s where Vince pretended like WCW did not exist.
Yeah.
Okay?
I don't know what they're scared of.
WWE acknowledges it. I don't think it's a matter of Netflix. I think it's more WWE just not wanting to do it. But I also think the meltdown of mentioning that on Twitter would be hilarious.
But we'll see what they do next week. CM Punk and Roman Reigns in Madison Square Garden. That's like I say, that show has to be a massive show, and there needs to be a lot of big things, including Brock and Oba, which takes us nicely into the opening
Right.
segment of last week's Raw.
Which I was going to ask you, what do they have to do this week to really sell Brock and Oba more?
Brock needs to get the upper hand, definitely. And I think after that, if they could do, I mean, I see a lot of people talk about, are they going to do any promos? I don't see why not, because Oba's a good promo. And Brock is a funny promo when he wants to be. And I think Brock doesn't do much promo because he's had Heyman for so long. But when Brock does a promo, I don't think he's that bad at all. Like, he's an okay promo. But I think that Brock needs to get the upper hand next week just to kind of level the playing field a bit.
Right.
Because like you said, if Oba keeps getting the upper hand, then you're just setting up for a Brock win. And I think I mentioned this on a space. You remember the Brock and Big Show feud going into Survivor Series 2002?
Right.
Where every week, Big Show had the upper hand. And then at the last second, Brock got the upper hand. And it was like, oh, maybe he can beat the Big Show. And he didn't, unfortunately. So, yeah, I think they kind of need to level the playing field a bit in terms of the momentum. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, what are you expecting? Are you expecting physicality or are you expecting something different this week?
Oh, I think there'd definitely be physicality because how can you not between the two?
Yeah.
I don't want to see Brock. I don't want to see them do the same thing again. I guess I want to see Oba in the ring and then Brock come out to interrupt Oba.
Yeah.
Whether Oba's cutting a promo, whether, he just has a squash match. But it's definitely got to be something where Brock somehow gets the upper hand because, again, like we've been saying, otherwise you're just telegraphing the fact that Brock's going to win at Mania.
Yeah.
And then the question is, should Brock win at WrestleMania?
This is probably the most divisive. This is more divisive than the two main events, I think. The outcome of this match. Like, I don't know if you heard me and Keithus talk about it. Keithus's thoughts are, if Oba wins, he wants it to be by a hair, it's a struggle, or do a no contest. And I heard him out, and I do like the way he presents that argument. Me personally, I like the idea of Oba winning, but not convincingly. But it does bring up the question, if Oba wins, then there's a lot of pressure on WWE to then carry on that momentum meaningfully instantly. Because once you beat Brock at WrestleMania, you can't go down from that. You just can't.
Well, I think we were in a space even before you started your show.
Mm-hmm.
We were in a space a few weeks ago when we were talking about that, and I had brought up, before they officially announced the match, it's like you're gonna just put Oba right to the final boss.
Yeah.
You're going down the pipe and you're going all the way to King Koopa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're skipping the entire Mushroom Kingdom
Yeah.
to get to King Koopa.
Yeah.
So
You're
it's
speed
like
running.
right. So it's like, again, like I keep saying, 2-3 steps ahead. Where are we at SummerSlam? Where are we at Survivor Series with Oba? You do something like this, and you may fall into a trap like you had with Gunther. Gunther he beat Cena, he beat Styles, and then he kind of got lost.
He did.
Now we haven't seen Gunther for 3 weeks, and I know that maybe that has to do with Rey Mysterio's injury.
Yeah.
But you still could have been following up with Gunther to keep him hot instead of cooling him down for not having him on TV for 3 weeks. So it's like you got choices. First off, Oba loses, you're going to hear everyone say he's buried.
Yep.
You're going to hear all the derogatory nicknames, which I'm not even going to say, and all that stuff. I'm actually surprised we didn't get that last night with Carmelo losing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that didn't happen. But, again, where do you go with Oba? Next step would be King of the Ring.
Yeah.
And
then win the title at SummerSlam.
Right. Which is it actually mirrors Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. His rookie year.
Because when he beat The Rock, he won King of the Ring, and then he beat The Rock at SummerSlam.
Yep.
So at that point, but then if you're going to do that, and we're assuming that he's going to be on Raw, meaning Oba, does that mean you keep the title on Punk or Roman? Because now you have to align that. Are you going to have Oba beat Roman for the title? I mean,
if he beats Brock, then there's realistically, in terms of, face of the company star power, only 3 guys he can go up against, and that's Cody, Punk, and Roman. So, yeah, he's going to have to beat Punk or Roman at SummerSlam. And like you say, which one does he got? I think Punk.
Beating Roman so that means Punk beats Roman. So
I think Punk beats Roman. I do think Punk's retaining. Yeah.
Like we've been seeing, it's a bookend situation. What happens in the front match, and let's be real, it's most likely going to be the opening match of one of the 2 nights because they're going to be on ESPN.
If Brock doesn't end, he starts.
Not even that, because it's going to be on ESPN, and Brock's your biggest crossover mainstream media name that you want on ESPN.
That's true.
So that's why it's going to be in those first hours, one of those 2 shows. So you're literally going to be bookending with the other, especially if you go night 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like we've been seeing on Raw.
Yeah.
So now the question is, okay, Oba wins. Obviously, if Brock wins, it doesn't matter who wins. Really matters there. But if Oba wins, then it's like, and if you're gonna build to him getting that title match at SummerSlam, which is but then it also falls under babyface and heel dynamic, because Oba's obviously the babyface. You're not going to turn Oba heel.
No, look at the reactions he gets already.
Right. So you're not. Yeah, but in defense, Trick gets him too, and he's a heel.
That's true.
So, but like, does that for Dylan, is that when you pull the Punk heel turn?
There you go, Dylan. You were right all along, man.
Does Punk turn heel at Mania to win the match? That's a story that you could tell from there too.